Utawarerumono Monopoly money, for fuck's sakes. Roll the intro.
Tarks Gauntlet.
Utawarerumono Mask of Deception is not only a game with a hard title to pronounce, it is a game that I had a hard time to get through, but also will have a hard time forgetting now that I am done. Those two statements might sound a little counterintuitive to you right now, but I'll try to do my best to explain. Utawarerumono released in mid-2017 in North America for the PS4 and the PlayStation Vita, developed by Aqua Plus and published by Atlas. This is the first of two entries, with the second, Mask of Truth, set to release in September of the same year. However, this isn't where the series started. The series has been going on for well over a decade and even has an anime adaptation. For those wondering if the anime is worth watching prior to playing this game, well, there's pros and cons and you'll have to decide this for yourself. In watching the anime first, you will get a better understanding of the lore and culture of the game prior to going in. However, if you have not watched the anime, the game offers many surprises you'll more than likely want to keep intact. I tried watching the anime after about the 15-hour mark of this game. I turned it off after the first few episodes, realizing that I might be spoiling some reveals for later on in this game, and so I put the anime on hold until I was finished. But that's enough with the preamble. What exactly is Utawarerumono Mask of Deception? I've heard many people slate this as being a 60-40 split between visual novel and battle. That's total bullshit. While everybody is in agreement this is a visual novel first and an SRPG second, the split is more akin to 85-15. The game runs around 40 hours plus or minus a few, and I'd argue at most 5 hours is spent in battle. You play as a character who at the start has no name because, brace for it, your main character has amnesia! Never heard that plot device before. While I want to hate on this because of how overused and lazy I'm beginning to feel it is, it almost always leads to some great twists and developments, and this game is no exception. You begin the story dressed in hospital attire, running from a large beast in some foreign woods. Your life is saved by a Neko girl named Kuan. She takes you in and cares for you and gives you the name Haku. She makes a promise to protect you until you can go out and live on your own. You quickly come to discover you may be one of the only humans in a world of Nekos. And while it may seem like this would be a part of the story's main focus, the human race and their current status becomes a part of the subplot almost immediately. As Kuan takes you into the capital city, you quickly get roped into doing work for political elites. While in the capital city, the game hits one of my biggest nitpicks. The writing in this game is fantastic and relies on a lot of sexual situations for comedic purposes. It's downright hilarious and feels like a sitcom at times, however so much of what happens here feels like filler. For 10 hours you will bounce between comedy and slice of life scenes, with no battle section anywhere in that 10-hour run, and it just doesn't feel like the story is unfolding fast enough or anything of substance is really happening. If you don't mind filler, worry not, and even if you do, I can promise you that the end makes it all worth going through. Around the 20-hour mark of the game, you end up in the midst of an all-out political war, and you might not exactly find yourself on the good guys' side. I really wish I could explain more of the story for you guys, but the setup to it is so big I don't truly know how to sum it up. This game is very challenging both in the themes of its plot and subplot, and the end of the game is sure to leave an impression, as it almost feels like a Shakespearean tragedy, but I will say no more about that, aside from saying it's worth dealing with the filler to get to. However, the plot and narrative is the only part of the game that will really offer a challenge. Throughout the battles, I only seen the game over screen once, and that was in the second last battle, because I didn't realize what the battle lose scenario was. The voice acting, writing, characters, and music are all top notch, and for once your main character doesn't feel like a 15-year-old schoolboy. He feels like a real adult, and this is a refreshing change of pace. His voice actually reminds me of Hitoshi Matsumoto from Gaki no Tsukai Batsu games.
そんな慌てなくてもいいと思うな。そうだよね、ハク。
こっちは一向に構わんが、一瞬の間が気になるが、気にしないでおくか。いや、これで働かずに済むとかは思っていないぞ。思っていないとも。
There is no English voiceovers in this. However, the Japanese voiceovers are all stellar. The music is top notch. However, to move into the last two issues I have with this game, one, the sound design is garbage. All the sound effects feel like royalty-free MP3s from sounddogs.com. Just listen to the pre-battle song. What's the deal with this? It honestly feels like they lost the raw recordings of this, and they just ended up recording it off of a pair of cell phone speakers. Maybe this was a design choice, but it strikes me as a bad design choice. And complaint number 2, the visuals leave a lot to be desired. This was developed for the Vita, but I do feel the Vita is capable of quite a bit more than we see here. Now, these visuals only apply to 3D models and landscapes, most of which are just drab and uninspired. The actual 2D art in the game is fantastic, and I don't think I've given credit to this in any review in the past, but the framing of the scenes in this game is spectacular. There is so much perspective and amazing shot direction in this game that some of the visuals just captivate the imagination. And such a thing is befitting of a world as rich in lore and history as this. Now, let's talk about the battle. I've stated there's only about 5 hours of battle in this game, so prepare to go 10 hours without seeing any. At the start of the game, the battle is very shallow and quite boring. There's a lot of options to control battle and battle speed, and I highly suggest taking advantage of them. Start by changing battle movement and attack speeds to fastest. When on normal, the camera makes really odd and almost disorienting jerky jumps between the grid location you have selected and your character while moving. When in the fastest speed, this is almost impossible to notice. Like most SRPGs, you move on a grid, and attack types and weapons dictate the range to which you can attack. Height does play an effect on your range, but it won't come up too often. As you get more characters and level up, battle gets far more interesting. You can level up mid-battle, and this will restore your HP while fighting, but the real benefits come after the battle when you get to distribute BP. BP are points you can put in 4 categories to affect your character's overall stats. Also around this menu, you can equip your characters with scrolls and other items that affect some stats and bonuses. The higher up you get in level, the more attacks you unlock. The attacks can automatically be chained together, or you can toggle them on and off as you see fit. More often than not, I use the biggest or most damaging attack I can. However, there is a benefit to holding off on using attacks that require zeal. Zeal is kind of like what MP is in most other games. Certain attacks require it. Eventually, you also unlock finisher moves. These appear very late in game. They are cool and fun to use, but it's a bit odd that no matter what your battle arena is, the finishers always seem to take place outside. Not a real complaint, but it shows some budgetary constraints of the title. When attacking, too, pay attention to whether or not your enemy has abilities to dodge or diminish your damage, or whether they'll get the chance to counterattack you. You do not want to be dealing with loads of counterattacks. While the battle system starts slow, it does get really good. There's significantly more battles in the second half of the game, but overall the battle system is woefully underutilized. I'd love to see more battles in Mask of Truth when that game releases. Carrying off of this, don't expect a very large enemy variety. Where only 5 hours is spent in battle, this isn't going to be a big deal, but it might feel a bit underwhelming to wait 5 or 10 hours between battles just to fight the same scrubs you did 5 to 10 hours ago. Progression does not always feel very quick in this game, but a lovable cast of characters, hilarious writing, and challenging themes both in subplot and main plot definitely made this worth the play, and the tragic ending definitely makes me intrigued to play the second one. Anyways, I've spoken about as long as I can on a game that's basically just a visual novel and a tactical RPG. I know this review is kind of light, but if it helped you at all, drop this a like, and as always guys, thanks for watching.